Good morning and welcome to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, where we observe the behaviors and we talk about the behaviors that really determine the work life, the workspace, that really define an organization. More than your products and your services define you, but how your culture, how people interact, how you interact with those who are coming alongside you to fulfill the vision, all define your organization. And there are certain behaviors that we sometimes don't know that we're having, that we're taking, that either are really enhancing our organization and we want to do more of that. And there's also some behaviors that are really crippling our organization, and we also want to correct those or adjust as needed. So today we're talking about overthinking, and we come to free the overthinkers. Yes, there are overthinkers, and I have been one of them. At times I can overthink, and that's why it's good to talk about this subject, because overthinking really has a physical effect on you. It really is. It adds stress to you, and it gives you a weightiness. And when you are a leader in an organization and you're an overthinker, it really can all stall the momentum that you're trying to have go forward. So when you're an overthinker, people don't, and they're waiting for your decisions, and you're vacillating over what to do, and you're contemplating this and contemplating that, and taking a very long time to make a step forward, then people get weary. And so how do you know you're an overthinker? I remember one time just sitting, and I was holding my head, and somebody said, "Yes, Yvette, that's where you should be praying." And it's like, okay. But I didn't realize that I had a tendency to sit and hold my head, and that's really because I was in a place of overthinking. What do you mean? What do I mean by overthinking? You take things a little too seriously, I think, when you're overthinking. It's like you exaggerate what has happened. You rehearse it and rehearse it. You play it out. You build the whole story. You build plot, plan, and themes around all of one event, and it's everybody else has moved on, and you're thinking that this could have been done better, that could have been done better. And so don't mistake reflection, healthy reflection, to overthinking. Overthinking is you are just putting way too much weight in that space. And so today I wanted to bring to you 7 steps on what to do, on how to move forward in and not be an overthinker, how to get yourself out of that. So first of all, become aware of your thought process. Think about the fact that recognize that I'm rehearsing this. I'm going over it and going over it and going over it till there's nothing to go over it again. You're turning it upside down all times of ways, and you're not making any momentum. You're not moving forward with it. You're not coming in with any great ideas. And it's making you have more regret. It's putting you in a place of shame. It's putting you in a place of guilt. So that you're feeling like, I could have done this, I could have done that. And you're beating yourself up. That's when you're overthinking. So become aware of when you get into that pattern of thought process. Now that you're aware of that thought process, what do you do next? You take a deep breath. Stop, pause, and take a deep breath. Overthinking, you just keep going. You have that brain moving in that one space. You know how when it's snowing or it's been raining hard and your tires are in a spin and they've got stuck, you can press that gas and that accelerator as hard as you want, as long as you want. But when you're stuck in the mud or you're stuck in that snowbank, you're not going anywhere until you get a lift up out of that situation. And so when you pause and you take a breath, that gives you time, your brain time to just stop. so that you can get that lift out of that scenario, out of that spin that you put yourself in. 3, step away and find a distraction to help clear your thought process. So sometimes especially when we're expert overthinkers, sometimes we need to not just pause and take a deep breath and give ourselves time to stop and calm the brain and slow down our thought process. But we need to totally distract, totally throw off our mindset and put our mind in a different vein. So that means go and do something totally unrelated to what you were spinning in the thought process. Totally unrelated. Get yourself distracted in an activity that just allows your brain to refresh and take a new road in that, make a new path in your brain so that you can now have a fresh perspective. And then 4, look at the bigger picture. Oftentimes we're looking at one small element of that picture or that incident, and we're rehearsing that portion of it, when we have to look at the bigger picture. And when you look at all the circumstances that surrounded that one event, you may come up with another perspective that it wasn't really even about that one little moment. But it's a bigger perspective, and especially when we're dealing with other people and we're not happy with how we reacted to a person or how a person responded to us, and we overthink their reaction. Sometimes we need to step back, take that deep breath, and think about what was going on in that time, in that moment, in that space, and all that they have to carry, all that they have to encounter, and what might be happening from their perspective. And even in that, because you're not them, don't spend a whole lot of time doing that. But at least if you take it from, well, how in their role, in their leadership role, in their space, or in their contribution to this effort, here is what may have been happening that caused them to react the way they did, and it's not the story that we created for ourselves. And then, speaking of story, if all the things add up to what you are rehearsing in your mind, and they add up to the facts, which usually they don't, but for the most part, if you can still put enough credence into what you're thinking, rewrite your story. We go from moment to moment. That means if I don't like what happens in this moment, I have the rest of the day to rewrite and dictate what's going to happen for the rest of the day. So rewrite your story. Never give up your power. And that's what happens when we're in a process of overthinking. We give up our power to move forward. We give up our power to rewrite or write or create our future because we're stuck. We're spinning like that tire in the mud over one incident. Let it go. Even if it's true, if the whole a story or details of how you're seeing it is truth and others see it the same way, from that moment on, you have the ability to write what's going to happen next. So let go of the past and write your story going forward. Live in the moment and not in the past. 6, focus on solutions. Focus on solutions. Don't focus on what has happened, because you can't change that. But you can improve upon what's happening in the future. You can write the story going forward, and you can come up with solutions. So the difference is, I can write my story hoping that someone else is going to fix it for me, or I can write my future story coming up with solutions where I can take my power back. I can make sure that I'm coming up with solutions that I can control, and I can see the outcome that I want to see. Or that I can, especially in a leadership role, I can come up with solutions that my team can rally around, and now we know how to move forward. And lastly, take action. You've gone through it. You've thought about it. We know you've thought about it, but have you thought about it in a healthy way? And this is all to make sure you're going to relieve yourself of the stress that comes when overthinking takes place. Make sure you're aware of when you're falling into that. You get that heavy feeling, you get exhausted. It really brings on exhaustion. So once you pause, taking that deep breath, stepped away, looking at the bigger picture, bigger circumstances, and that helps you to really tell your story, write your story for the future with solutions now from a better, healthier perspective, and then take action. There's nothing more detrimental to you or your team when you make plans and you don't take action. Making plans and not acting on them is critical, is crippling teams. And when I work with teams and when I've worked with leaders who are a part of the strategic planning process, this is one of the things that they complain about and they're most concerned about, that they get a new leader and the new leader comes in and they haven't had an opportunity to work the plan that many people contributed to, because now we have somebody who wants to tweak the plan. Or we have the same leader and they get a new idea and they think they have to totally rework the plan. That's not what you have to do. Just investigate the plan, inspect the plan, make adjustments where needed, and then move forward on how have solutions on how you want to move forward. And that's how you continue to make forward motion. So I hope I trust that this has helped you. If you would like to work with me, I do work with organizations on helping to come up with those strategic plans, especially one, and I come from a perspective of strategic implementation, strategic change management, how we're going to really not only make a plan, but actually implement that plan. That's the difference between real momentum, thriving organizations. Thriving organizations because they not only have a plan, but they're working the plan. Have a great day. You can reach me on YouTube. Please like and subscribe at Yvette C. Owens on YouTube. Also on Facebook at Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens. Like, share, and share again. And if you would like to engage with me and we can partner on some work, I can help you. Go to thediplomatchronicles.com and you can see how you can connect with me so we can help you move forward, come out of that overthinking, and get you and your organization moving forward in the plans, actionable solutions that you and your team come up with. Have a tremendous day, fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.